Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, verse number 6. Evam para vidyayen dhyanena tritritvam prakrite puman karmasu triyamanesu Gruner Atmani Manyate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Because of his forgetfulness, the transcendental living entity accepts the influence of material energy as his field of activities, and thus actuated, he wrongly applies the activities to himself. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. The forgetful living entity can be compared to a man who is under the influence of disease and has become mad, or to a man haunted by ghosts, who acts without control and yet thinks himself to be in control. Under the influence of material nature, the conditioned soul becomes absorbed in material consciousness. In this consciousness, whatever is done under the influence of the material energy is accepted by the conditioned soul as self-actuated. Actually, the soul in his pure state of existence should be in Krishna consciousness. When a person is not acting in Krishna consciousness, he is understood to be acting in material consciousness. Consciousness cannot be killed, for the symptoms of the living entity is consciousness. The material consciousness simply has to be purified. One becomes liberated by accepting Krishna or the Supreme Lord as Master, and by changing the mode of consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. Thus ends.
The following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 26th Chapter, Text number 6, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on December 18th, 1974, in Bombay, India.
Try the history of the whole world. There had been so many big empires, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, the Mughal Empire. But where are those empires and what are those emperors? When I go to Agra, I pass through the fort and they show here the emperor Shah Jahan lived, here the emperor. Where is the Shah Jahan? Now the place is there. Similarly, in France, in the park, there is Napoleon's statue, Napoleon and France, the identity. And I asked them, France is here, but where is your Napoleon? So, this is going on, foolishness. So many foolish persons, full of, and they are controlling this material world. Therefore, it is very precarious condition. Andhajathandhai rupaniyamana stepi satantra urudami baddha. Isatantra, just like if your hands and legs are tied very fast with some rope, and if you say, I am independent, what is the meaning of it? If your hands and legs are tied up by a strong rope, and still you think that you are independent, has it got any meaning? Similarly, we are tied up by the stringent rules and regulation of the material nature so fast and still if we think that we are independent, is that very sanity conduct? No. Even in your eating process, you are so much tied up by the rules and regulations. Oh, then you can digest. Then there will be some disease immediately. Immediately there will be indigestion, diarrhea, you will have to suffer. If you enjoy, when you are youthful, too much sex life, then after a few days you will be impotent. No more sex life. In this way, we are simply tied up by the rules and regulation of the material nature, and still we are defying the authority and thinking, I am independent. This is called rascal, now mudha. They have been described in the Bhagavad Gita as mudha, all rascals. You cannot control the laws of material nature, and you are thinking you are independent. And the laws of material nature mean real conductor is Krishna. Krishna says, Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. So, behind material nature, there is God. Under His direction, material nature is working. Chaeva jasya bhuvanani vibharti Durga. Durga, the material nature power, is working just like chaya, shadow. So in this way, there is a Bengali verse, পিশাচি পাইলে যেন মতিচ্ছন্ন হয় মায়াগ্রস্ত জীবের সেই দশা উপজয়. Pishachi, ghost, there is some haunting of ghost, and when a man is ghostly haunted, he speaks so many nonsense, mayagrasta. Pishachi paile jano moti bhranta hai. Similarly, under the spell of Maya, we defy everything. Where is God? Can you show me God? He's seeing every step, God. God is in the Bhagavad Gita how you can see God in every step. If you learn how to see God, that is taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sasuddhaya. God is teaching that you try to see me in this way. What is that? When you taste the water of the taste of the liquid, water or anything, that taste is so you want to see God, but you are tasting so many liquid things. Why don't you think that here is God? This taste is God. God is teaching. You learn how to see God. This blunt eyes, how you can see God now. You try to see God in this way, as God says. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sasuddhaya. Now, if he actually a philosophical minded man is there, if he simply makes research where from this nice taste came in the water, he can see God. Because ultimately he has to come to God. If he researches, make research where from the sunshine came, you can say the sunshine is coming from the sun glow. But further research work you cannot do there. But if you are actually philosophical minded, if you make darshan, philosophy means darshan. Darshan means seeing. See more, see more, see more. In this way you will ultimately come. Ishara Parama, then he will come to this conclusion. Bhaunam janmanam ante jnanaman mang prapaddati. if you are actually serious student, research worker, then after executing research work for many, many births, when you are actually wise, Jnanavan, then you will surrender to Krishna. The Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlava. This is the way. But these rascals infatuated by false ego and under the spell of material nature, being kicked by material nature, thinking that he is kartaham iti mannate, kartitam, I am doing, I am this. We have made so much advance in research, so much scientific advancement, this and that, so many things. No, it is not possible. Without God's hand, you cannot do anything. Sarvasa chahang ridhi sannivishta matta smriti jnanam apohanancha. A scientist working very hard to find out some chemical or some physical thing, but there are many others working. But unless Krishna from within gives his proper intelligence, he cannot invent the particular thing. That's not possible. Krishna gives his intelligence. Matta smriti jnanam apohanancha. Two scientists working, one has become successful and one is not successful. Why? Both are working very hard. The one is favored by Krishna and the other is not favored. Otherwise, how you can explain? If material knowledge is sufficient, both of them working hard to find out the truth of a scientific discovery. But one is able to find out, another is not able, then how you can explain these discrepancies? The only explanation is that one is favored by Krishna and the other is not favored. Actually, it so happened, you know, this Marconi's invention of wireless telegram. So, Marconi and many other scientists were working on this line. One of them was Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose. So, this was explained by Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose in a meeting. I was a boy at that time in Calcutta. That they were discussing, Marconi and Dr. Bose, Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose, about these waves. And so, actually, Dr. Bose discovered this wireless. The Marconi heard it from Bose and immediately published in the paper. And the British government gave him preference. He became the inventor of this wireless telegram. But actually it was Dr. Bose. So that means he was favored. Krishna gave him intelligence. Now you take these opportunities, takes this theory explained by Dr. Bose and you publish it, you get the name. Nimitta matra bhava. This is the explanation. One is working very hard, day and night, and the another is enjoying the result. Why? That is prakite kriyamanani gunoik sarmani karmani sarvas ahankara. You may think that you are doing, but you are under the control of the material nature. And the material nature is controlled by the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, ultimately, you are controlled by this. But being spelled by the material nature, he is thinking that evang paravidhyanena kartitang prakite pavan karmasu kriyamanesu gunairatmani mannate. Atmani, guni. So, we have contracted, we have infected some prakriti, some guna from quality of the material nature, we are acting in that way. So, at the present moment, the material life means we are all working under the spell of this material nature, gunai. So, I have got this body, Indian body, I am thinking, I am Indian, my duty is like this, like that. One is born in America, he is thinking like that. One is born in dog family, he is thinking like that. One is born in cat family. In this way, different varieties of body and different varieties of thinking. Different varieties of body. It is due to the body. So, karmasu kriyamanesu. We do actually, according to the body or according to the temperament. Karmasu kriyamanesu gunai. And that is spelled by this material nature. And I am identifying myself in that way. I am this, I am that, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Christian, I am Brahman, I am American, I am Christian, like that. Gunai karmani sarvasa. So this is our conditional life. Kapila is speaking on the subject matter of Atma Darshan. So if we identify like that I am American, I am Indian, I am Brahman, I am Kshatri, or I am cat, I am dog, then we shall continue this life, this conditional life by the material nature. We shall continue forever, nitya-baddha. Forever. Forever means we cannot calculate how long we shall continue. It is not nitya actually, but because I do not know from whence it has begun, neither I know when it will end. Therefore it is called nitya-baddha. Nitya-baddha. So we are nitya-baddha, eternally bound up by these laws of material nature, and we are wandering throughout the universe according to karma. Uddam gachanti sattasta. If we work on the satagun, gunai karmani, we vichitra, there are so many varieties. So we may go sometimes up to Brahmaloka. That is not very difficult. But abrahma bhuvana lokan punaravarti no. Either you go to Brahma Loka or Patal Loka or any Loka, this form or that form, you will have to go through these four principles of material condition: birth, death, old age and disease. That is not possible to overcome. That you can overcome only mami vaja prapadante mayami thankari. Therefore the conclusion is that instead of serving under the spell of material nature, let us immediately transfer our position to become the original. Original means the eternal servant of God, Krishna.